I met Josh through Aaron, actually, because those two had been friends since, what, high school? Younger?
I mean, middle school, I think. I think we originally met through church.
Well, I say, yeah, we knew each other at church. I mean, since kindergarten.
Yes, yes.
Well, you went to school with me in kindergarten, then left. Like, I don't know, man. You just left.
I left.
You packed your bags and went on the journey?
Yeah.
Thought you were Bilbo Baggins?
Thought he was spot the height.
And he still hasn't grown into the height on out of the Bilbo Baggins stage.
Yeah, that actually worked a lot better than intended for the topic at hand here.
Exactly. So, welcome to another episode of User Words Podcast. Today, we have Brock with us, or the Lieutenant. Lieutenant Boldus, yes. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
For letting us know the proper nameage to use.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Did you pass your intelligence check?
Let me roll.
Roll for your intelligence check.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
What was that?
8.
I know you failed. You can't read English anymore. So, anyways, welcome to another episode. In case you did hear, yes, you did hear an actual die in the background. Because we are going to be talking about something that, for what was that for?
What? Nothing. Go on.
Am I going to have to throw my metal die at you now?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Please don't. That might hit me.
I have them in my bag. But I'm not using them on the table. I'm being respectful. That's why I'm not using them on here. Because I also want stuff that don't make noise. Otherwise, I would use my dice roll addy thingy. Yes. Anyways, so this week, and this is, let's see, what week is this actually? This is the week before Christmas. Look at that.
Yeah.
Next week is Christmas.
Yeah.
Woohoo! We get to hear Aaron's gift to the world next week, which will be fun for me. I don't know if it'll be fun for him. We'll find out next week.
Wait, why wouldn't it be? Oh. I was thinking of a different gift. Okay. Yeah, I know.
And at this point in reality, Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, you are in Pennsylvania. The 11th?
No.
Oh, no? I thought
No, we leave the 18th.
Oh, I thought it was the 11th or something
No,
like that.
we leave the 18th, and then we'll get back around the 23rd or 24th.
Oh, wait, yeah, that's right. No, 18th, yes. So this is the week
is-
before. I had the wrong date highlighted in the calendar right here. 18th, week before Christmas, which means, yes, you would be
on my way to Pennsylvania.
on your way to Pennsylvania to pick up your personal Christmas gift to yourself.
Oh my gosh.
All right?
Sure, guess so.
Learn more about that next week.
Yeah.
And then I might have to record a special episode the week after to see if he actually gets a double gift of the same thing. But that's a whole other thing. Wait till next week to find out what I mean. And then, of course, we got Mr. Josh Brewer over here. He's all excited and happy. And we got myself, we got Johnson, and like I said, Lieutenant, or as we call him on Friday nights, our game master.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yes.
Oh, I was like, what's Josh doing? We got Mr. Johnson, who is
Erebus.
Mr. Brewer, do you remember your character's name?
Siga-Odd.
Good job. My character is Eldol.
Eldol.
Anyways, what we're...
A doll.
I'm going to... I have my character sheet with me. I'm almost going to pull out duel on you.
I did.
Yeah, but you got XP out of that.
The game master is here to officiate.
I've got all the files I need on the
I roll a
laptop.
stealth check.
Let's go.
That's not going to stop him anymore.
Yeah.
Even if I become invisible?
Yeah.
Wait, what? What are you?
I was going to roll a stealth check because I can hide in plain sight. But
Yeah,
I
you can
guess
do that, but he can still see you because of his new spell he picked up recently.
Yeah.
This dude's OP.
I picked up where I can see invisible things.
But I wouldn't be invisible. I'd be hiding in plain sight.
I can see everything. It's true sight.
What color underwear do I have on?
I never want to know those things.
I don't have any. I'm just kidding.
That's your
Check.
That's your problem if you're going to chaff later in those
He's
games.
got to roll for that.
A deception
I wanna
check?
see. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanna see.
you got to roll an anti-chaffing check.
17.
Oh, okay. All right.
Failure.
You would know.
Playing
You'd be able to
rough
say
today.
that. But anyways, so what you're hearing for all this for, we're going to talk about why, I guess, I would like to say, I'd preface this, real conservative Christianity is like, oh my goodness, games like that, Dungeons and Dragons are evil. My mom is of that persuasion, by the way. She heard the word Pathfinder one time. She's like, Why do you playing Dungeons and Dragons? Why are you summoning devils? And then
fun.
she hears Johnson and she's like, oh, wait, he's already here.
He's possessed.
The devil's here. His name is Johnson.
His name is Johnson.
So yes, and so for that I mentioned that, and Mr. GM, the lieutenant, said, I want to be a part of that episode. So hence why he is here.
He's here.
So he is here to counterbalance maybe some of the stuff and all that. So this one is very open-ended. I guess the primary reason is, why did people kind of see this as an evil thing to begin with? It's a game.
Yes, as a genre, the tabletop RPG, the tabletop role-playing game, they are no more evil than, say, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, any of your other fantasy settings, in all reality. So if that's the debate you want to have, then you can, pretty much it's like cut and paste for all those. It's the exact same argument. Yes, there are technically evil things, but so long as it's like, done, it doesn't become excessive. It doesn't become, all-consuming. It's not inherently, necessarily sinful or wrong.
Right. No, I agree 100% with that. Because, like, I look at it, I'm like, okay, as we're going through it, I'm like, I know, one, I'm a normal person. I can actually distinguish between reality and fantasy. I remember when I was growing up, you had, like, all these, wow, Johnson is breathing loudly today. I remember hearing like all these things of like, we got to ban D&D because this person's D&D character died and they killed themselves because they couldn't handle the loss. And I was like, how often did this really happen? And maybe those people could not exactly distinguish reality from fantasy.
And then the other big debate against it is just like, oh, you have this DM or GM that, forces all the players to do their evil beating or bidding or whatnot. It's just like, there is literally a meme about this where it's just like, oh yeah, that's what they throw out in the news. But in all reality, it's just like the GM is just like, okay, you guys have all tried seducing the fish. Can we please, and you've all failed. Can we please move along?
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that has not come up in any so far yet in the campaign you're running now.
No.
If you try to seduce the fish as a barbarian, half-orc barbarian, I would actually want to see that. That'd be entertaining.
Wait, what? Oh, no.
You guys already did the fishing quest, so.
Yeah, we did. But we can go back and fish anytime we want.
I did say that.
Yep.
Let's do some fishing.
So be 1/3 human or whatever he is, 1/3 orc and 1/3 fish.
Yeah.
Be his child. That'd be creepy. I don't think we have anything for that. No.
Need to be creative. Make one.
No, we don't.
That sounds like a lot of work.
My son will never be known.
Oh boy, and this is the reasons why D&D gets a bad rap. Anyway,
well, Josh and I were talking with a friend of ours about his D&D like games, and they sound very much more interesting than ours.
how so?
As in like a nasty kind of messed up way.
Well, to be fair, okay, we have the chaotic evil barbarian who acts like a flower girl.
You're just not letting me get there yet.
I found something. If you would have gone to Unchained Barbarian, by the way, I found something. I was like, oh, this is Aaron's character. It's the peaceful stance.
Yep.
You rage peacefully. I was like, oh my goodness, it's Aaron.
No.
Yes, it is.
You just don't know what I'm planning. That's all.
What are you planning?
I can't. Why would I tell you?
Do you even know?
He doesn't know what he's planning.
I have
figured.
thought.
You have thoughts? Okay, let me ask this.
No.
Does it involve raging?
Maybe.
If it involves raging, I will get behind it.
Okay. Then most certainly.
Okay. As long as it involves raging. Me and you can be rage brothers.
Can we, like, when you go to make a kill, can you, like, describe how you want to do it?
I mean,
That's between
a
you and
little
the
bit.
GM.
A little bit. Oh, okay.
Depends. That depends on between you and the GM. But
'Cause what was the, like, when they're down on the ground, you just go to kill them all.
Coup de grace.
Coup de grace. That's it. I mean, I don't imagine you'd definitely be able to describe that one, but because it's just one final blow to kill them.
No, usually if I was going to describe something like that, that's because you overkilled by X much.
So one of the podcasts I listen to is called Critical Role. I know I've talked about it a couple times. So Brock is definitely aware of it. You remember me talking about it a little bit?
I thought you always tell me about this one guy in there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have told you about it. Who plays a barbarian? Yeah, that's why I talk to you, because he always, every battle he goes, I would like to rage. And I was trying to get you to rage a little bit more. But anyways, going back to Aaron's question about can you describe that and all that sort of stuff. When they have like big battles, like with a boss type enemy, if you get the killing blow, what he does to his players, he goes, how would you like to do this? And then has them describe, like in basic terms, like how would they like to finish the fight?
Mm-hmm.
He takes that information, then he, makes a big old story. But remember, this guy's a voice actor, so professionally,
Right.
he's doing this all the time, sort of deal, But so to answer your question, some people do that. It's all on the GM where what if that happens or not. So, and it's not like he controls your life outside the game. What was that look for?
I don't know.
That was just a
I
weird.
hope not.
You hope not?
I hope he doesn't control my life.
I have worked for the government.
Oh no.
And the government does control everyone's lives, so
Nuh-uh.
no.
Doesn't control me.
Are you sure?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're sure.
Do whatever I want.
There might be people in Congress who would like to disagree with you.
Yeah, that's a whole other set of conversations. But let's kind of bring it back to wonderful tabletop RPGs here. Okay, I guess, and I know my answer for this, so I'm not going to say it. And Brewer, feel free to chime in anytime you'd like here, sir. That's my clue to you, saying, "Hey, Brewer, talk."
Yeah, stop playing RuneScape.
No, that's you.
Perception check. Does he see the microphone?
On who? Who has to roll the perception check?
That would be Brewer here.
Brewers, roll a perception check. Roll a listen check first. What is it?
That was a 3 for those who can't, hear
because
fingers.
fingers don't convert to audio too well. I actually thought it was just one finger at first.
I was kind of hoping.
Give me the bird.
So that's his perception check.
Or as my coworker's daughter says it, pointing to Jesus.
Oh,
That makes it worse.
By flipping him off?
Oh, no. Yeah, that would be
No,
bad.
if somebody flips her off, she says, "Are you pointing to Jesus?" And they're like, "What?" And they
What?
stop flipping her off.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's-
I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah, never heard of that one. Okay.
I do believe Paul said he had a question.
Yeah, but
Brewer's been derailed.
for Brewer's derailment, and at the same time, hold up one moment because backup recording just failed. Okay, let me ask you this then, because I lost the previous question I had. So that one's out the window. So this is going back to the whole thing about why some of the very conservative people hate RPGs in general. I'm talking like computer-based, tabletop, all that. Which, side tangent, just my mom is 100% fine with stuff like Final Fantasy and other RPGs that are electronic, but not the tabletop RPGs because it says Dungeons and Dragons in it.
What's wrong with Dungeons
Just
and Dragons?
because it has this weight to it, that history.
I guess I don't know much about Final Fantasy, but I feel like that would have.
It's the level of quote unquote objectionable material is about equivalent.
Actually, I would say it's probably worse than Final Fantasy, just because once the 3D models and all that started coming around, they try to make all their women appealing to young men. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
So, all right, I'm going to ask you this one here. Okay, so first I'll start with this. This one, this was something written by Margot Adler. She was a Wiccan apologist. She surveyed those at a major festival, Wiccan festival, and what brought them to be interested in the Wiccan religion. I want take a guess and round to the nearest percent on the percent of people that said RPGs in general got them interested in Wiccan. And this isn't a published book, so the book is called Drawing Down the Moon. It's like a 445-page book. Take a guess. Johnson?
30, 40,
What's your answer, 30 or 40?
35.
Brewer?
What's what?
Ha!
Well, he critically failed that one. He didn't even have to roll a 1, and he critically failed. What
You're guessing a percentage.
Guys,
Wow.
I just rolled the one in my hand.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
So we're just gonna say he flat out goes, no.
He has no
GM, Mr. GM.
I want to say it's probably like 13 to 15%.
You all are way too high. Not one person.
Oh, wow.
0%.
I think, yeah, we're all a little high on
Yeah.
And from my understanding, Wiccans are, it's kind of something that like family history kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's usually where that comes from was, oh, hey, my great whatever was into this.
Right. And I get it because a lot of RPGs, so let's be honest here, they have that polytheism aspect to them. They are multiple gods of whatever, I could think of like Final Fantasy, you got Shiva, Ifrit, Titan, you get Leviathan, you got multiple Ares and a bunch of other ones. So, where they borrow from Greek gods and goddesses or Roman gods and goddesses or make up their own, because Final Fantasy does that a lot, it's just what it is. So people I think are also scared about that. Little Johnny is exposed to this. Well, little Johnny's exposed to a lot of stuff in school too. Are you going to be homeschooling him his whole life and sheltering him from everything? And if you are, I think that's a problem, to be honest.
Uh-oh.
Were you homeschooled there, Mr. Johnson? Okay.
I was not.
Okay. That's just
Never know.
yeah. So there was a book or a study, I should say, not a book. Sorry. In 1995, it's called "Personality, Belief in Paranormal, and Involvement with the Satanic Practices Among Young Adult Males, Dabblers versus Gamers." Long study. Okay.
I'll bet with a title like that.
Yep. It was published in Cultic Studies, the Cultic Studies Journal, page 12:2. I guess that means someone for maybe it's like volume 12, something 2. I don't know. 12:2, pages 148 to 165. Anyways, it was a 3-way study of admitted Satanists, gamers, neither, and they used the standardized, testing methods to do stuff, and the personality questionnaire. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. And belief in the paranormal scale. Apparently, that's a standard thing. I don't know about that anyway. But they found no statistically significant difference between gamers and they call them neithers, which is weird. Who are neither gamers
Nor satanic.
But they found considerable differences from Satanists. That's what they're saying. So they're using that as the thing of saying, you know what? There is no statistical link between the games and, Johnson doesn't start playing a game and go all of a sudden turn around and go, I will now sacrifice blood. If anything, his mom now calls him a nerd. Because what was your story you had from your mother that she said when she asked about the game?
Wait, what? I had a story.
I remember this and you don't? Because your mother asked about like what Pathfinder was and that.
Oh, and did I say it was a nerd game?
Yeah.
So she asked if I was a nerd now?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just like, come on, Johnson, how do I remember these things? And you don't.
Bad memory.
Really? At this age, you have bad memories.
Yes.
Why?
You're going to be fun to hang around later.
I am?
When you're older.
Though.
Oh, the amount of traps I'll be able to set. It'll be awesome. Glorious.
No.
You're not a rogue.
I'll be whoever I want to be.
Okay.
No, I'm not a nerd, though.
Oh, sure you aren't. Let's go with that.
Music nerd.
Shut up.
Okay. I'm going to ask you this then.
What?
I don't know if you've heard this one. You might have heard this one. Johnson, not so much, maybe. I've heard this a lot, and I heard this from my mother, that D&D contains authentic magic rituals. Have you heard that one, Brock?
I mean, I think I've heard about it. Not like that's kind of like the gibberish that kind of comes up by the people who just assume that there's something inherently wrong without actually looking into it. And I mean, that's the big thing here is, you don't have to like it. You don't have to, you can think it's the worst, thing ever, whatever. You're entitled to your opinion, but, don't go out and assume and make conjectures like that without at least, doing your research first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnson? Yeah, you.
I don't know. Have I ever heard that? I guess I'm not surprised by that. No, I never really thought about that until this whole topic for this podcast came up. Or heard anything like that.
Really?
I think the only thing that comes close, perhaps, is comes with like wands and whatnot, and like the reason why anybody would use a wand. Technically, that's the exact same reason that they use in game.
Yeah.
Like in real world, like people who like try to cast spells and whatnot, The reason they would use a wand is so that if the spell backfired, it would be the wand that exploded and not their hand.
Oh, that's usually a good thing. I'll have to remember that.
Logically, that's the same logic for why they use wands in Pathfinder and in D&D. But I mean, aside from things like that, it's just there's not much substance there. Like I said, it's like going to Star Wars or liking Star Wars and the Force, or liking the magic from Lord of the Rings or any of your your big fantasy Harry Potter. I'll throw that one out there. It's a lot like that, where it's just like, so long as it doesn't, you don't try bringing it back to the real world, and you don't become obsessed, or you don't take it to the extreme. It's it can be a sometimes healthy indulgence. For example, most good Pathfinder groups and D&D groups, it's a highly social experience for a group of people that typically are not overly social in the first place.
Except for Johnson, he's overly social.
Well,
But
he's kind
Yeah.
of he's an exception in this case in more than one way.
Well, that's the truth.
What does that mean?
What does it mean?
I don't know. I want to talk about it.
Perception.
No.
He asked for a
I didn't
perception.
sign up
He's
for this.
asked for a perception roll. He got a 4.
Yeah, no, you get
That's
nothing.
not bad.
And that's actually some of one of the reasons I do like Pathfinder. It is that social thing where you have to be social in one way or another, because you can't just sit back in the corner and be like, "Poof, I'm doing nothing, and I'm just going to sit here and roll my dice." You have to be involved in some way, because otherwise nothing happens for your character and you're just a passerby. And so I enjoy that part. But going back to like the whole,
True.
the whole thing, and I'm reading, to be fair, I have this article pulled up. It's from ChristianGamersGuild.org.
Christian Gamers Guild.
.org. That's a thing. And they have a whole like FAQ thing, whatever. And they bring up, this thing about, some people say, well, spells and Dungeons and Dragons are real spells and rituals, Here's an example that they bring to say, hey, maybe they're just making fun of things. So this is from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Unearthed Arcana from 1985. It's a spell called Firefinger. It has the ability to produce a small flame from the fingers of your hand. It states, to bring about the magic of this cantrip, the caster speaks a word of power over elemental fire, such as Ronson, Zippo, or the much revered word Dunhill. Extends his forefinger, makes a sideways motion with his thumb. It's not magic at all. And if you actually look at those words, what are those words, those magic words?
Come on, Justin, you should recognize these.
At least one of those.
Zippo?
Zippo lighter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Those are names of
Yeah.
of lighter brands.
Yeah.
So they're just poking fun at things. They're not actually being real. It's not, you
Real
must.
witchcraft.
Yeah, exactly. And what they did also is they talk about, that someone actually took these books and it's like, here, people are saying these are real examples of spells, gave it to a real Wiccan, and basically they got laughed at. So I was like, oh yeah, that's about right. It's about right. So that was my thing with that. And I was just like, So Mr. Johnson,
Yeah.
Mr. Brewer, I'm just seeing if Mr. Brewer's actually listening. Are you actually going to listen? Or are you so busy taking notes?
Yeah. But
Are you still suffering from that one perception? Your
Yes.
Yes, I am.
your crit fail there?
Yes.
Outside of, I already know this answer for sure for Johnson, but outside of like Pathfinder, where we've been recently playing, okay? Finish yawning.
You said I was gonna sneeze.
I
not
know,
sneeze.
I was wrong.
Okay.
No, so I didn't yawn.
Psycho.
Anyways, now won't be interrupted with a yawn. I already know probably the answer for this for you, Mr. Johnson, but the question I have for you is, outside of Pathfinder, which we recently started playing, what other RPGs have you played and enjoyed and all that? And the next question is, have you ever gotten any like pushback from your parental figures units?
You're talking about like,
Electronic, whatever.
oh, okay.
I know you haven't played a tabletop RPG before.
No, so yeah, because
That was obvious.
I can think of one.
I can think of a few.
yeah.
You probably have a better idea than I do, but I can think of one just right off the bat.
Yeah. Johnson, go.
Come on.
Oh, okay.
Bring it up. He's asking you, not me.
I
Yeah.
was gonna see which one you were gonna bring up.
I want to see if you get it.
With Skyrim.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah.
What else?
I guess you could say RuneScape.
I am thinking of 3 other ones.
You're thinking of 3 that I play?
Yep.
Oh, what?
And I know you play them because you have sunk hundreds of hours into them.
Hey, I know Dark Souls.
Yes, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
so you were counting those individually?
Well, they are individual.
Yeah, I mean, I get
Yeah.
that. I just
I
didn't realize
haven't-
you were. I would have called that one category, but okay.
I still.
Well, I mean, they're basically like dark version of Skyrim.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
I see that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it's just like I wouldn't have called them 3.
They have wildly different mechanics in each one.
Okay.
The Dark Souls?
Yeah, the like your resting in battle and that, and your item durabilities and that. I'm not talking like battle. Battle is the same.
Yeah.
Dodge, 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 hit, dodge, hit.
For real. Honestly, I don't think my parents have really ever seen Dark Souls. I mean, I've heard the name, and as soon as you hear the name, I'm just like, oh,
I'm surprised you just didn't assume it's another metal band you follow.
yeah, this is a sick band called Dark Souls. Wait, have I ever
Trademark.
I wonder if I've told her about Thy Art is Murder.
I'll let her know on when I see her next.
Probably. So, have you heard this new band I've been listening to? Thy Art is Murder.
Yeah.
All one song that I don't really enjoy.
Anyways, go on.
I don't think they've thought of it as dark or like dangerous. Not to my knowledge. They just view it as a video game. Oh, you're wasting your time. You're killing your brain cells and just making yourself stupid. Okay, hi, here I am. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever had any blowback about like, oh, this is like satanic or devil-y kind of stuff.
All right.
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Brewer? Did you play any RPGs before tabletop RPG? You're the one I'm not sure on.
I did a little bit of RuneScape when I was younger.
Not really.
He said little
I
bit.
really didn't.
He said little
I
bit.
don't think I really knew you at the time that I was playing it.
Oh,
Yeah, this was before high school.
We don't have to go through your love life history.
well, we're gonna start playing together again, anyways. Okay.
But besides that, no, not really.
Did you ever play like a shooter with like classes? Because in a certain sense, that would be a role playing game. Because sometimes like the original Battlefront, where each class had unique weapons and therefore a unique play style. You can start to debate that maybe it's a role playing game. So
I wouldn't say
once again that's on the fence.
probably until I got my own computer. I really didn't dive into role playing games. But if we open it up to the point of video games like that, then yeah, I had shooters and stuff. But it wasn't until I got my own computer, like I said, that I started diving into it. One of them was Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that one?
That's a relatively recent release, I thought, but
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Another one, and
Medieval
like I said,
Simulator.
a lot of it is branching out to the point of being like a shooter. So that's more of where, if you want to consider role playing games, that's more of where it stemmed from. Otherwise, if you want to consider being like a strategist in a strategy game, that's
Okay.
kind of role playing where you have to figure out politics as well as it depends
It's
on
breaking down a little bit there with that one, but for example, a role-playing shooter, the Tom Clancy Division games that have come out the last couple of years, those are first-person shooter role-playing games, or I guess really third-person shooter. But
Okay. I probably don't even have to ask for you because
yeah, so
I know your
I've
history.
done it. Let's see. So on the tabletop side, I did D&D Second Edition. That was a mess. I've done D&D 3.5. I did D&D or 5th edition. I did not care for that. Pathfinder, obviously. As far as games, a little bit more recently, I've been getting more into the RPG games. Fire Emblem, Three Houses. There was a mobile game called Brave Frontier or something like that. That was a Final Fantasy VII styled squad RPG. I played Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Old Republic, which was a RPG.
I remember that one
Did you play that one?
just briefly, like I did with Star Trek 2, but
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean RPGs in general are something that I've kind of gotten more into recently. But yeah, no, I've been around a couple times.
All right. Yeah. I remember it wouldn't have been, I guess you could say my first RPG would have been the good old Legend of Zelda on the good old Nintendo. My first, as close as you could get at that time.
Yeah, at that time, yeah.
It wasn't until like maybe when I got my Sega Genesis, when I got into like Shining Force, Shining in the Darkness, which was a dungeon crawler. Shining Force 1 and 2, which was more like if you think of the electronic version of Pathfinder, it's very close to that. And how you take the turns and the initiatives and all that, blah 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 blah. and I kind of stuck with stuff like that, Final Fantasy Tactics, all those things through 3 years, and never once did I get a thing from my mother. Oh, you shouldn't play that game, even though on the screen my character is hailing down large fireballs on enemies, or summons a scantily clad ice goddess that shoots ice at everyone. Nope, no words. But I go and roll a die. Oh no! Well, I failed whatever that roll was. 6.
Well, luckily for you, you didn't declare it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I failed whatever that roll was. So it's. I guess a lot of this, we're going kind of studying this. Why? So I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. These two may not. Maybe Josh more. Chick Publications. Familiar with them?
So what?
They do all those tracks everywhere.
Not by
okay.
name at least, but
Okay, yeah. So they're the ones that always have those crazy little tracks everywhere. They have one called Dark Dungeons as their track, specifically against
RPGs,
Dungeons and Dragons, specifically, and they actually in here like take the most extreme version of it. Like, oh, something happened and the character died, and now it's occult training for this young person, and she ends up, want to kill herself because her character died.
Yeah, that's a bit extreme.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay. Yeah, they actually even show a note in here. It says, "It's my fault Blackleaf died. I can't face my life alone." As they show the body hanging of someone else's body hanging in the tract. Yeah. I hate to say this, but if you want to laugh, go to chick.com, go to tracks, and look up their occult ones. It's called Dark Dungeons. They sell these, but they also put all of them online. CHICK.com.
That is that. Okay.
Yep. And so they have an article on here, of course. Now, again, this one's from 2001, so it's a little old. But they have an article, Should a Christian Play Dungeons and Dragons? And it's interesting when you take reality and then you read their thing, and basically they're saying, well, everything you do is part of reality, so therefore you shouldn't play. It's essentially their argument. They're like, okay, you think your character died, that's bad. You shouldn't do that. I'm like,
in which case the follow-up argument then is, no Star Wars, no
exactly,
no Lord of the Rings, no Harry Potter,
and
probably no Marvel.
Yeah, as I say, okay,
so it's just like, at which point it's just like, what doesn't actually, get close to crossing that line?
Yeah,
that's modern entertainment.
Exactly, because you have stuff like,
like the only thing that would knock out would be like modern politics, which while you're watching that, it's just beyond me. And then sports and the news.
Great. What boring life that would be.
Sports. Yeah.
Oh, you know what they call an oxymoron in this article, by the way? Christian game masters.
I would like to have a word with
them. This was from 2001, so 18 years ago. So it's been a little while. Are you reading the chick track?
No.
Oh.
I'm on that.
Yeah, they have. If you ever want, I hate saying this, but if you ever want to laugh, go and read some of their stuff because they are just so over the top on all their stuff. It's actually funny.
Funny in the context that it gets used on this show frequently.
Yeah. Take a guess how many of those my mom has ordered. Hundreds.
Yeah, I was about to say there's how many to choose from?
Yep, and she has ordered hundreds of them. She always keeps them on her. Those are probably some of the worst tracks I have ever seen, but that's my... Now, so you have all these people talking about all these bad things with it. Now, Brock brought up one good thing. People who are maybe, again, not Johnson-based, but maybe less social. What are some other good advantages of tabletop RPGs? I'm going to limit it down to that because RPGs in general could be just so many different genres. You could have your solo RPGs, your MMO RPGs, your tabletop RPGs, your...
there's a big list.
Yeah, your MUDs, your all that. Multi-user dungeons.
Oh.
More popular back in the dial-up days, blah, blah, blah.
Dial-up.
They are still around, but more popular back then. So what are some other good ones?
I'm going to hand it over to them because I've already got like 3 or 4 ideas in my head, but let's see if they can pull them out.
What are some good...
What's good about RPG?
What's
or tabletop RPG?
Yeah, what things do they help you with? What are some good skills that come out of it?
Learn how to summon spirits.
Okay. Is my mother possessing your body?
I don't feel myself anymore, guy.
Do you feel like an old lady?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
I'd say some of the good things that come out of it is you can learn a little bit more about the people around you because it allows you to be a little bit more creative. Because you don't have a computer or you don't have a board game with rules that, even though it is a board game, it's not. It's
And it does have rules.
well,
You just totally ruined it for yourself.
you know what I mean. It's
No, I
not
don't.
like
No, I don't
Do I?
actually.
it's.
Do
There's
hang on, I'm gonna
more-
roll for that. Yeah, maybe.
there's more uniqueness when it comes to it, because you can present different things to the game master, and the game master can choose. Whereas traditional board games, you're stuck to a certain boundary of things. You can't just like, hey, can I roll for a perception check to see if I can give Aaron a wedgie? No. So I mean, you can.
Why are you giving me a wedgie?
Oh, he's going to give you a lot more than
I got to
that
see
one
if you're
day.
wearing underwear first.
Well, I mean,
Anyways,
I'm
but-
keeping this comment
Okay.
in my head.
But
Anyways, go on.
when you have that interaction with people to become, I didn't say not become, but it kind of forces you to be a little creative because otherwise you don't have fun.
I mean, I've got counterpoints to that, just my own experiences. But I'll leave that for maybe something we come back to if we have time.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have time. Johnson.
the thing I haven't, it is more playing like a table type RPG.
Yeah.
Well, obviously compared to video games, you're able to do more stuff than you would be able to in a video game.
Like
which is-
multitask RuneScape and rolling die. We see you're playing RuneScape all
Oh
the
yeah,
time.
I know. I ain't afraid of that.
Uh.
But no, like there's more. We're kind of talking about this at work the other day with JT.
Okay.
He was talking about Friday night or whatever.
Did you say at work?
He works with me now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he started this week.
That poor man.
Which one?
JT.
Nice. But he was talking about like Friday night or whatever. I can't remember how he was making this. Oh, he's like, he's like, you're not gonna be there to continue this. I don't know what he said. I was like, it's just a game. Oh, Chris was saying I have commitment issues. I was like, funny.
I won't argue.
Shut up.
I know that you have priorities, and your number one priority is probably music above almost
Right.
everything else.
This is
And
true.
I am willing to work with you on that. I understand that's much bigger to you than this game will ever be. So once again, I can understand that, but
Yeah. Well, then, yeah, and last night I ended up being dead knocked out.
Yeah.
But
You did none of your
I did
commitments.
not- yeah, I know. It was terrible. But like, no. So yeah, we were talking about. I was like, Buzz. So I was telling JT, well, it's a fun game. He's like, it's more than a game kind of thing. And
See, that's when it gets maybe a little scary.
yeah, that's
and he was joking.
there's a red flag
He's
going up
messing
there.
around.
But
But so then we started talking about one of my coworkers, Chris, about it, and he's like, I don't know, it was weird, but basically it came down to is like, yeah, there's more like I guess stuff you can do in a tabletop RPG as opposed to playing Skyrim. And yes, there's a lot you can do, but then it's just so much more in detail.
Well, it's also because it's a real life
It's-
human
Yes.
writing the story. Not just one; it's the group technically.
Yes. Yeah.
But the game master, in this case Brock, he can respond to the weird antics that happen, such
Yes.
as dumping apples
Apples.
on Sigurd.
Yeah, you freaking punk.
And then someone ratted us out to the authorities.
Yeah,
he filed a report.
Yeah, someone's a great teammate there.
yeah.
Who I don't know who did that.
What a wuss.
Nobody
my ca-
tried. None of you guys tried to dive into that and
My-
figure
my-
out who
my
that
char-
was.
my-
I was
my-
gonna help, but
My characters don't know. I know, but my character doesn't know. And that-
exactly.
There's a fun aspect that we might get to later. Anyway,
Oh, don't worry. I already have plans to help with that. And he knows what those plans are because he
Uh-oh.
has seen all the contracts I had been making.
Contracts.
yeah, it's called I'm Actually There.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember when I gave you XP? I made a contract with you
I
for something to
know.
happen.
I know. I remember that. It hasn't been able to happen yet,
I know.
but it will. Haven't forgotten.
Contracts.
Well, that sounds a little fishy when in context, but
I know.
anyway.
But it's all in game stuff.
Right,
I know
right,
it's
right.
not. It's just. But yeah. But
Or maybe.
But
it
here's
isn't.
the thing. I wouldn't have been able to do that in a digital game. I wouldn't be able to
No. Yeah.
to do these little hijinks that I'm doing in a digital game. Because guess what? When I go,
You're limited.
when I'm going like, hey, guess what? I'm going to make my eye permanently able to see magic. And Brian goes, what the? And now whenever I'm looking at something, he's like, dang it, is this really magical or what is it? And now I got to make up stuff on the fly, and then he does
Yeah,
it.
you guys,
And then
Paul loves to see me scramble. It's fun for him, and I realize I do a little more theatric than I'm actually thinking.
and then
Just because I know that you guys enjoy watching me scramble.
and then I realize how I can use these new things he gave me.
Uh,
They will
Oh,
come.
yeah, those.
Yes, those.
oh yeah, those.
Yo, he is going to have so much fun with
You have no idea what those are.
I don't.
JT knows what those are. You don't know what those are.
I don't know what those are.
Trust me, you're going to find out, and you're going to be mad.
And I'm
You
gonna
might rage.
I'm. Whoa!
I am doing my job if I make him rage. But it might help out with another contract that I have out there.
Anyway, to circle back to the question at hand, I'll drag everyone back to that.
Yeah.
But other things that that it can be good for team building and leadership principles.
Yep.
Paul is kind of taking the helm, but
Well,
like he's
someone had to.
yeah. But
otherwise, that would have been a
like,
chaotic
but in most groups, that's going to be a big thing. Another big thing is going to be problem solving. You guys haven't really run into that because I really did light on that because this is most of you guys, this was the first RPG that you've played like this, so I was keeping things simple. But for example, the first dungeon that I had you guys go into, there was the 4 keys that you had to figure out how to use.
Yep.
So you're gonna have like all sorts of things like that, especially the more in depth and like crazy contraptions to unlock different doors and just all sorts of fun stuff like that. And it's just like it teaches you sure what you learn in Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder isn't going to directly help you with your life, but it still starts getting you thinking about ways and different different strategies to actually how to deal with real life problems.
Yeah. To take all the data in and be like, okay, let's maybe think about this in a different aspect completely. And also maybe not make things more complex than they need to be. I think specifically about a recent incident with a little gem that dispelled magic, and we all took it way too far.
Oh, I had so much fun with that.
Yeah, I know. And so, it was, I went to the other side of the town in order to be able to do stuff and be like, I'm going to move all around the city, see if machinations are afoot with this thing. And he keeps going, no, no, no. And finally had Naomi on the head and say, Kira says no, do this. And she brought along her boyfriend, Erebus.
What? Wait, what?
I want to see if you're...
Wow.
Wow, assumptions.
I didn't know it was official now.
That actually was to see if someone was listening.
Okay.
Oh.
And he was. I'm impressed.
I've got my research stacked,
So do I.
but my
By the way.
computer is now very, very slow.
So I also see it as, I don't know, reading comprehension skills for maybe people who
Yep.
are still learning to read, or maybe trying to learn a new language. Help with that.
There's actually fairly recently there was a big report that a mother got a message from her son's teacher that he was excelling in math, and what had happened, and the teacher was asking why, and what the mother refused to admit was that she was playing Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons with her son, and
What?
because of all the addition, the multiplication, and just getting used to seeing numbers combined in weird ways, he was picking up math concepts faster than the other students.
Makes sense. I get that.
Yeah, I get that, especially with I'm dealing with my character recently. It's just like, okay. And I was sitting there going through all my calculations for my character. I'm like, okay, this, and then last night, okay, now I got to take away stuff. I'm like, dang it! Addition, multiplication, subtraction. At least there's no division right now because that would make my brain go. I would just not have that fun. But I would also say, so the reading comprehension, the math thing, hopefully memory. As you're going,
You can keep poking as the GM. You can keep poking that button, and it's just like
Yeah,
show me
you-
something.
well, I'm not even talking about memory of like how the turn structures and some of the rules. I'm like,
I know that's exactly what I'm talking about. That is literally like remembering the little details. Like I keep poking all of you, and it's just like I will give you experience if you can tell me who you're talking to.
Yeah. And I will admit there are points where sometimes like when I get certain RPGs, I'm like, I don't care who I'm talking to. Just I want to talk to and do this. I don't care.
I mean, I get that. And once again, that's just me trying to get you guys to engage in the world a little bit more. But, that's just me being me.
Yeah, that's fine. But one of the things that, I'm not talking about maybe so much memory on like that sort of stuff, the rules sort of stuff. And like, if you have a character that has like so many options, being able to remember how to pull all these rules in together. So it's like, okay, how do all these things map up, and also being able to then think in parallel, because you got various attributes that maybe need to be applied at the same time. And you're like, okay, how do everything stack? And it's not just,
And then there's, especially in combat, especially if it's a rapidly evolving combat, it's, thinking on the fly. Like, I mean, yeah, there's potentially a lot of time in between your turns, but each time someone does something that could, or to an extent, could force you to completely rethink what you just thought you were going to do on your next turn.
Right. And also, it allows you to get a little creative too. One of these days, I'm going to have to find a way to like shrink Erebus and then like somehow pick him up through magical means and throw him into an enemy.
We're going to get over that whole thing again? No. I don't want to get attack of opportunity.
Except I'll do it in such a way you don't get attack of opportunity.
Okay.
How about that?
I don't want to get ripped to shreds.
Not gonna throw you over enemy. Throw you right into an enemy.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
that was a fun one.
that one when
Old T-Rex and all that.
Yeah,
jazz.
you almost died that bad, or the battle you left on, you almost died. But
Yeah, no, yeah.
I think you got down to like 40 HP, but you survived.
I did.
So
I done made it.
And like I said, you got to be creative because some of the things you got to do.
Let's get creative.
Also, like if it wasn't for me in that first dungeon, we would have been so lost.
Oh yeah, no. Okay, so what it was is I'll go ahead and explain it, but pretty much what it was a series of interconnecting loops. And if you guys hadn't been taking very detailed notes on what direction you'd went, the whole point of that dungeon was for you guys to spend a couple hours just flipping around in circles trying to figure out where the heck you guys actually went.
And that was to teach you a lesson.
Yeah, yes, it was. But Paul completely circumvented that. He took you guys around the outside, which is usually a typical strategy that you'll employ in a dungeon. Is just have like a methodology for exploring it, and his ended up taking you guys all the way around the outside, and everything you needed to do was on the outside anyway.
Yep.
So he saved you a lot of time and headache, which I was kind of looking forward to. But
it's almost like I've played RPGs for like my entire life.
I mean,
just not tabletop.
Just once again, to be fair, Paul was completely ready for that, and that dungeon was kind of designed for Josh Brewer and Johnson to somehow get stuck in there alone.
Yeah,
because
I played was it Ultima, Bard's Tale, and all that, where the original versions you didn't get maps.
Oh,
you had to do your own mapping, and
have fun.
Shining in the Darkness was another one. So if you got lost on your map and where you got lost in the dungeon, and you might be ended up dying because there was no like teleport out spell at that time. So it was like, oh look, I'm in here. How do I get to point A? How do I get to point B? And how do I get back and live? There was no answer for that.
And like I said, with this dungeon, and there's just like, sure, you could go around the outside, but if you got stuck in the middle, it's just like, and you lost yourself. And to be fair, you guys have been in what was a fairly straightforward dungeon, and you completely screwed up the map and got completely lost.
Yep, we did that too.
But like, no, if you got lost in the middle of that one, it's just like, I can literally sit and watch you guys for days try to dig yourselves out.
At that point, I know just get to the edge. And then from the edge, get to an entrance or exit, and then start over. That's how I do it. Again, I've done so many of these things. So it teaches you map reading too. Look at that. Which is a skill, which actually isn't a skill really taught anymore.
No, it definitely is not. It's it's, and this is one of the things I hate about smartphones is just like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to use the GPS on my phone to find out where I am, and I'm going to use Google Maps to find out where I need to go, and it's going to tell me how to get there, and it's just like, great, congratulations, battery's dead. Now what?
Yeah, so when I was, I would have been like 18 or 19, I had to drive my younger brother to Pennsylvania. And
have fun.
I had to do it completely via road maps and atlases. I didn't have a smartphone or anything.
Show of hands, who actually knows where you can find those nowadays?
An atlas?
Like a road map.
You can get those at like rest stops, can't you?
Bingo.
Yeah, so that's the only place I would.
That's
know
the
to get
major
them.
place to find items like that nowadays. Occasionally, like travel shops will have stuff like that, or like like the oh hey, you came to this location. Here's all the places to go see while you're here. Like places like that will occasionally have maps, but usually you have to find them at rest stops.
Maybe we'll have to do something in the summer where Johnson has to navigate his way around just by maps with no cell phone.
I like that.
Wait, like around Wisconsin?
We'll drop you off somewhere random.
In Wisconsin.
And
Somewhere random.
And we'll give you a GoPro and we'll put it like on your hat or something like that, and we'll release it on YouTube. It's just footage
about
of John.
me being like driving distance?
Somewhere.
Okay, so we'll take your. We will give you a flip phone so that all you can do is call for help if you get seriously injured or get in a wreck.
My God.
So
Once again, that's the big if. We'll put you at a random rest station, and we will tell you a location to go to.
I was thinking one of us also just follow him in a vehicle just to be on the safe side, but we don't go. We just follow him, and
So-
also we could record him getting lost.
or if anything, all three of us just are in the other car. So we drive him and his car somewhere, okay, and someone else is driving another vehicle. But we have him; he can't see the
Right.
whole
What?
time. We drive 2 or 3 hours, okay,
What?
We give him some ZQL beforehand.
but we let him go. And what we should do is we should put like a dash cam facing at him inside the car, watching his reactions and seeing how he reads the map and stuff. And then we just follow
Well,
behind
No,
him.
I'd rather see it on like the top of the hat in case he like gets out and like asks people for help.
Yeah, where am I going?
And it's just like use that footage. It's just like have like a little like shock thing on him, like a shock color. And it's just like, oh no, that person just pulled out a smartphone.
Well, how far can we get you with ZQL in your system?
I don't know.
That'll
Let's find out.
Probably knock you out about a good 6
Orally
to 8
or by
hours.
IV.
Oh my gosh!
Orally or by
What?
IV.
When are we gonna do this? Like
In the
when
summer.
has ever happened?
Next summer when it's warm out. We're not gonna do it to you in the winter.
No.
How? What? We gonna take like a full Saturday to do this?
Oh no, Saturday and Sunday.
Oh!
I say what we do is we choose a place we want to go for the weekend. We drive out there Friday night, and then we get out there and
Me and you choose. He doesn't know where we're going.
oh yeah.
I mean, if you take me to La Crosse and tell me to come back home, that's easy.
No.
No. We would leave you in some place like, oh shoot.
Actually,
No.
Illinois would be a good area because
Actually-
there's so many town
And what we'll do
names.
is he'll have to wear a shirt that says "Do not give me directions."
or no, do not use cell phone to help
Yeah.
or help me with directions.
There's-
Yep.
Because I'm completely fine with him going to ask locals for because that is.
Okay, that's
That is-
fair. That's fair.
But it's just like
'Cause
I am not, or just make a note. Just like do not use smartphone to
You have
assist
to
me.
go up to somebody and have to say, "Hey, I'm
But-
doing this thing."
But as part of this, we'll give you an atlas of the entire United States.
Oh,
But then you would
gosh.
also be able to go. You would also be able to go to restaurants and find a more detailed map of the area that you're at.
Yeah.
so yeah, you're gonna drop me on like Billy Bob, Illinois, and tell me to go to
Or we could
some
just
other place in Illinois. I'd be like,
See, I was gonna say,
You see, if we go to northern Wisconsin, if we go to northern Wisconsin, we leave them on Route 10. There's no rest stops in between the two interstates that you can go between on Route 10. So we can really we can really throw them under the
I was
bus
gonna
that
say,
way.
We drop him off in Minnesota. We go to my friend Nathaniel, his wife, see Jenna Brash. We go spend some time with Jenna and wait for Aaron to show up there.
so now I had to find a house. What
It should be hard.
do you mean it shouldn't be hard?
Do a survival check.
Da 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 da.
Two.
Oh, I'm done.
see, I was gonna say,
It's over.
if we drop them up in northern Wisconsin, it's very
Woody.
yes. There's not many roads, so it'd be
Yeah.
easier for him to navigate, but it'd be more time consuming. Now, dropping him down in Illinois, there's so many roads.
Yeah.
It depends on what
Where
part
do
of
we want to go
Illinois.
for the weekend? Really?
I don't care.
I don't like this game.
I love this game.
This
I
is-
mean, I
this is
guess to a point, I like this because
Brewer,
I'm gonna
you're
get
next.
lost and have fun with it.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Well, that's part of the point is
It causes.
you could learn a skill, map reading skill, playing Pathfinder.
Well,
Now, here's a good
how much
question.
of that would? Well, okay, yeah. If you're
What-
reading an actual, I'm just thinking about like reading like road signs. Like how you like depending on how far the place is, you're not going to see any signs for this place for a while.
Maybe.
Ooh, if we do the stretch between Illinois to Ohio, there's not a lot of road signs, just corn. plenty of
You
corn.
just have to go
Same
in the
thing
general
across,
direction.
Indiana.
The Dakotas all the way out to Yellowstone. Hey, let's do that. Let's put them somewhere in between Yellowstone
I
and
thought you weren't
Wisconsin.
spending money before your wedding.
Oh, who said this was before? This could be right after.
And you
That's
expect
gonna
that
be
money
a
after the
late
wedding?
wed- Yeah. For
Anyway.
real,
Yeah.
though.
I said, you expect your wife to let you go before the weekend?
And she'd sit in the back of the car with Aaron and watch him freak out, spaz out.
I'm sleeping, apparently.
No,
you're sleeping on the
She'd
way
be
there so
driving,
you
she'd
don't
be in
have
the
Oh,
back
yes.
to make sure that you don't fall asleep behind the wheel.
And that you don't cheat.
Yes.
That's
That's why she's called the enforcer.
Yeah,
I heard what you said.
I know you heard what I said, but I was like, shoot, I'm starting to think they better not give me a car that doesn't have it.
Oh no, there will be a car with no navigation.
But I don't. Why do I have
I'll
to
just
drive
pull the
that?
navigation disc
What
out of
if
your
I want
vehicle.
to drive my car?
Oh, he can. We'll just pull the nav disc out.
Yeah, there you go.
I won't. I don't use the navigation in my car.
Exactly.
Then you
So it
can't.
wouldn't matter.
Anyways,
Oh!
I
Tabletop
regret,
RPGs,
wait,
gentlemen.
hang on,
I
hang on.
regret this.
Hang on. When last thing. I don't think he wants to use his car
Why don't I want to use my car?
because he can't use his smartphone, so he can't play his music.
We can give him an iPod.
CDs.
Oh, he does. Yeah, you do have an iPod.
CDs.
Do you have an iPod?
I have an old school iPod he could use.
What
Literally.
if I just turn off my data and Wi?
Nope. Sorry.
I'm rolling an attack. There's an 11 hit.
Doesn't an 11 hit?
I'm gonna roll for my AC.
Nope. It
Crap.
hits.
I do 2d20, right?
Wait, what?
24, knock him out.
Yeah, I got no chance.
I'm just like,
Smack.
Anyway, back to
you
tabletop
pop,
RPGs.
you pop
What
that
about
again.
Not intentionally.
How do you not intentionally pop that loud?
If I intentionally pop, that means I'm trying to get a reaction off you. If I unintentionally pop, my goal was not to get a reaction. I was just doing some sort of I don't know, what do you call it? Like a hand gesture when you're talking, but it's a vocal gesture while you're talking. I don't know. Anyways.
Wow. So by the way, talking about RPGs, did you know you can contact Focus on the Family Counseling Department to talk about your kids playing D&D?
I'm not overly surprised.
They also
Is it still active?
their website.
I-
their website is.
I have not heard much out of Focus on the
Yeah.
Family in like
No,
better part of a decade and a half.
they definitely are because they're asking for donations. Donations starting at $50. Yes, so they do. But they also have a book that they sell called Spellbound: The Paranormal Seduction of Today's Kids. It discusses D&D. There you go. Focus on the Family, spreading more propaganda than
Yes, propaganda people.
I'm trying to think. More propaganda than the fat man spreads lard on butter. I have no idea.
Perception.
What?
He asked for a perception roll, Johnson. Oh, wow.
Wow, he actually gets it.
He actually gets it. Congratulations.
Paradox. He gets it, but he doesn't. I'm pretty sure the microphone does not belong up your eye.
No, it doesn't.
But it feels cozy.
Sure.
Or
It's nice and
you're
pleasant.
snurdling your eye.
Yes, you are. To find out what that means, you'll have to listen next week.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody knows about that word yet. Josh?
Exactly.
Josh knows about it, though, because I gave him the list.
Oh, I'm sure someone that listens knows what the word means.
They're from Britain, probably.
Britain.
So,
Maybe Ireland.
Erland.
yeah, you're right. Maybe. So, any other benefits to wonderful tabletop RPGs, or have other things that maybe you've heard of why they are evil? Okay, why do you enjoy RPGs then?
Enjoy it.
Yeah, why do you enjoy them?
Enjoy, like I said earlier, being able to have more fun with it compared to point with instead of video game. But then the thing I like about video games is there's actually visuals, which I guess to a point there's visuals for the.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little cheap on that side.
I
Oh, I didn't really realize there was like.
no, they get expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very quickly, like one of the popular, so there's different ways to go about running a campaign. What some people do is like, like modeled railroads.
Yeah.
They will literally build
Oh
dungeons
my
like
gosh.
that, and like
Oh, yeah.
like removable, so that like if you go in a room, you have to like take off levels of it, like crazy complex. Like some people will even build like entire little mini houses out back of their homes, and they've got these kind of setups, and they've got like Paul's piece, but like correctly painted the way they want, stuff like that, and
They'll
it's
put civilians in the picture. Yeah.
Well, once again, it'll be specifically one dungeon. It's just like, oh, hey, you are now in this dungeon, and pretty much the whole campaign is you doing all the stuff that you need to do to either get out of the dungeon or to clear the dungeon or whatever.
Just like for example, a painted wall, one wall of a castle painted, $88. 2 short walls, a pair, or no, 3 short wall pieces, $110. So yeah, they get expensive.
Whoa.
Yeah, and he's looked them up on Google. He said crazy D&D setups, and that's what he typed into Google's image. And that one's like, that's like a 20-foot long table at least.
Yeah, I looked up Dwarven Forge. Apparently, they're a company that all they do is make these things. So
yeah, no,
and that's also why some people do like virtual tabletops as well. Like that's why you see people who have like a TV mounted on the middle of their table, and they do the virtual tabletop on there, so that way, you can put the figures right on because it's a cheap TV, you can put the figures right on it, but then you don't have to kind of imagine the map; it'll show the map for you. Like, oh, this is grass, this is water, this is blah blah blah.
And if you're willing to part with $25 on Steam, there is the tabletop simulator.
Yeah, so there's ways that you could do a virtual as well as physical. I think Johnson just is now into this whole like era now of like, oh my goodness, you can do that.
He's gonna make it now.
If you have ever seen, again, I come back to Critical Role. What they do actually is they have a bunch of now. Okay, I'm going to be a low critical of Critical Role. They sometimes get a bunch of these expensive things for free. Sometimes now they do purchase a fair amount, but like sometimes they just because they're so popular, they get free stuff. And I mean, they have highly detailed like castles, but they also do like elevation things. So they have like, their dragon is like this far elevation, and they actually have templates cut out like, okay, this is a 30-foot radius to see if they can actually hit the dragon from the ground at various spots.
Nice.
Here's one, Johnson, I'll show you real quick. This one is kind of really, really crazy. I can't move my computer too far, but you can take a look at this one, how big this is. As you can see, it's just...
But yeah, like I said, people, like, I mean, you've seen some impressive model railroads, and that's probably what most people would think of. But like, there are literally maps that are that detailed, that nice, and like, hundreds of hours of detailed work, and it is just like large investments of disposable income, I would hope.
Yeah. Or you're big enough and famous enough you can just get them all free. But yeah,
and make your own. It's more fun.
Yeah.
Time consuming, but more fun. Anyway.
But yeah, so you can do that, but we're going the cheaper route unless you want to pitch in a bunch of money.
I mean, I guess I'll have to go back on that account again and pull some more money out.
Do not do that for this, because you will be an example of why D&D is bad for people then.
Yeah, there's a reason why I use risk pieces for the enemies. I have them readily available.
Right. That's smart.
Yeah. Use what you got. The most expensive thing I have bought for this is, still the die. Because the die
those are some very nice die, I will say that.
Well, they're very heavy. $50. They better be nice. But they're heavy. The little figurine I got was 40 some bucks.
Well, once again, if you have access to the equipment, which the equipment usually runs you $200+, but if you had the equipment and the right set of skills, you can make your own for relatively cheap. You just have to buy the material.
Yeah, because you could design one on Hero Forge and download the file,
and then you load it into your 3D printer.
The file, if you just get the file, it's like $3 to $5. So you still have to pay for the design work that they do.
Or if you're really good, like you can make it in like your a CAD program or something like that. But once again, it's just like, how much time
I'm not that creative.
Yeah, once again, like I said, it's just like, how much time do you actually have spare, and how much expendable income do you have that this is what you're doing with it?
My brain is very creative and can imagine many things, but there's like a barrier there trying to get that creativity out onto paper, and it just dies. So it fails.
I feel you.
And I think we lost Johnson into the world of images.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's looking at things to spend his money on. See, now you can.
No, I'm not.
You can return those drums and get multiple of those.
No.
You can return that Lego Millennium Falcon.
No, it's a little bit beyond the return period for that.
Yeah, it is.
By like a year.
You bought it from Amazon, he probably could.
Did you buy it from
No,
Amazon?
he'd have to verify that he still has all the pieces.
Oh, and he has to do that by building it.
3 years later.
No. Actually, at the back of a Lego instruction, they have a list of every single piece.
I know. I was just giving him a
I
hard time.
agree.
Because, well, it's Johnson. Who doesn't love giving Johnson a hard time when he does stuff?
It's Johnson.
So yeah, how's that for your visuals?
This is crazy.
So it's also a very good game when you don't have. So, okay, let me rephrase this. If you have a lot of money, it's a good place to dump money. If you don't have money, it's a very good place to have imagination. That's one of the things that people are always like with kids nowadays. Are like, they have no imagination. They're just playing their video games all day. They have no imagination. Well, then get them on a tabletop RPG.
They'll have imagination.
Yeah, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, they'll either have to work with it or they'll just accept it.
Yep. It's like, oh, look, a beige map on the ground with grids. Okay. But you add some imagination. You're like, okay, Aaron's barbarian goes and kills things. And, so are you still stuck on those images?
He's probably going to be here for the next half hour. Can we move along?
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm like, Johnson.
What? Not fun.
Close the tab.
No, it was more like, what the heck is all that?
Sass.
Yeah, the sass. That's all I need is more sass. Brewer, do you have anything to add to this?
Nope.
Really?
I'm cold.
He's the one that wanted to get me into this so bad.
Oh, you want to bring that thing up?
Oh, boy.
Okay,
And
let's go. You brought it up.
Fight. Do you have anything good to say about it? Is it better or worse than Access and Allies for you? Well, I guess Pathfinder.
I think
first.
I know the answer to this
Yeah.
one.
I will say this. This
doesn't.
isn't necessarily my cup of tea. So I would, in a sense, like Access and Allies more. But at the same time, the one thing I don't like about Access and Allies, it is very limited. You can't be as creative as you can be with D&D or Pathfinder. You can be more creative with D&D and Pathfinder than Access and Allies. For example, I mean, you have a certain limit of enemies. You understand all of your enemies' strengths and weaknesses. And usually there's certain key moves you have to make to result in the winning or losing of whichever side you're on. So there's certain variables that will either grant you success or grant you failure, and you kind of know everything in the board. It's still fun, but D&D, you don't always know what your enemy is, what their strength level is. You
complain to me about this a lot.
Yeah.
wait, what?
Especially when we got started. It's just like, how come I can't know what their stats are?
Oh,
I remember this.
Yeah.
I remember this. He's like, in every other RPG I play, I know what their stats are.
What's your voice want to do? I?
Most I don't. Not until maybe I level up way beyond and I get a special ability that allows me to see their stats.
or until you hit them, then you go, oh.
Yeah, but guess what? I still don't know until I get that ability or I gain that ability to hit them and gain that knowledge. So,
What?
Because, yeah, that was one of the things I remember right away. Josh was like, can I know what they are in their stats? I was like, well, if you look at them, you might be able to tell what they are and what they're holding.
At least that
Um,
portion of it.
Yeah.
But now, if you were to incorporate a Access and Allies RPG version, that'd be interesting.
And there's a pipe dream.
Yeah, I know. Actually, maybe not Axis and Allies. It's in the local game store near me. It's like a World War II
Diplomacy.
tactical RPG. No, it's basically D&D Pathfinder rules intermixed with World War II stuff.
You will have definitely you get your different variations like that. Like probably the biggest knockoff of D&D would be Darts and Droids, which is Star Wars. For those
Yeah.
who didn't get that reference, it's literally a Star Wars version of D&D.
There's
and-
also Starfinder.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's just like you want to change your or you want to throw whatever variant on there. Somebody's already beaten you to the punch, and has probably left a note somewhere online for you to find.
Yep.
Although going back to the creativity thing, once again, it does depend on the tabletop simulator or the not simulator, the RPG you're playing. For example, D&D version 3.5 was fairly open. But there were still people who, wanted a little more flexibility to, do their own thing, create their own thing, and that's where Pathfinder comes from.
Right.
That was them, taking D&D, making changes to make the system a little bit more robust so that they could do, whatever. And then D&D came out with Edition 4, which was a crapshoot free for all, like you can almost do anything. And then they came out with Edition 5, which I absolutely hate because what they did was they massively simplified everything. And in that mass simplification, it kind of like, okay, here's like the or each class has like 5 presets, and pretty much if you don't play the class in that preset, you just can't. And so that's my big critique with 5th edition right now, is that it's just like there's no flexibility. It's just like you play the character as dictated by the guide, or you're just wasting your time. So once again, that is the big thing with Pathfinder I really like, is like you have an idea for a character, run with it.
Yep.
See what happens. If it blows up in your face, I'm sorry, but who knows? That could be completely broken and awesome.
Yep, and your DM may break your character for you.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. Yep. Every time I get a chance to. Yep. It might be like, and someone broke my character. Thank you. Okay. All right. Question for you, sir, because I'm the one who has had a lot of RPG experience like you as well. Less tabletop-y stuff.
Right.
More.
Go ahead and shoot.
So if someone was interested in getting started, like say in tabletop RPGs, what would you recommend for them?
Oh man,
that's a hard one. I know to throw right at you. I have some suggestions. I didn't know if you had some suggestions.
I mean, it would depend on what you're already kind of into. For example, if you're more into the militaristic shooter and you're okay with, say, aliens, I would recommend XCOM, or the XCOM series of games. It was XCOM Enemy Unknown, XCOM Enemy Within, XCOM 2, XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. That is a turn-based strategy game. There are role-playing elements in it, but it'll give you an idea of like at least starting to think on the way that you have to learn how to play these games, especially the combat elements. So that's not necessarily a bad place to start. If you're into that, if you're more into the fantasy, I would recommend Fire Emblem Three Houses if you've got a Switch. Maybe some of the later Final Fantasy, although the Final Fantasy games kind of always struck me as maybe a little bit on the higher end.
Yeah, they're a little weird sometimes, and the thing with Final Fantasy is each one uses a different mechanic system.
So yeah, once again, for the people who are more like into the military shooter kind of thing, and you want to see if maybe you're into the turn-based or the role-playing game, I would definitely look at the XCOM series of game. You can get them on Steam, you can get them on PlayStation 4, you can get them on Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even a question of what console you have. So it's nice in that regard. Although I don't think they have a port for Switch yet.
Yeah, I don't think.
But if you're like the military shooter type person, if you wanted to try, that's where I would dabble. But
what if someone wanted to get involved in maybe a tabletop RPG? Do you have any suggestions for them there?
Yeah, the suggestion is you find someone who GMs, DMs, whichever they prefer. You definitely want to have someone who definitely understands the mechanics of the game and can help ease you into it. For example, as Paul mentioned last night, you guys weren't here to see it, but the campaign that you've been doing was very handholdy at the beginning, and there's still a lot of handhold, help us out with this difficult issue stuff that I'm allowing that I wouldn't normally add in, just so that you guys can learn mechanics. And it's just like, I don't get it. Options, I don't know. Try to avoid that panic attack.
Yeah.
But so yeah, if you're looking for a tabletop simulator, I almost a requirement. You have to find someone who's GMs or DMs, and you need to tell them that you want to be interested, and they will almost certainly, if they've got the time. Like you guys have no idea even how much time I had to sink into what's really a very basic campaign for you guys.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of time that had to be sunk into it.
Okay, just for example, each of the NPC enemies that you guys are fighting, that's at least 2 hours of my time for each individual one. So for the encounter last night, that was 2 hours for the ally, 2 hours for the enemy.
Yep.
And just because of the leveling process and the way I design characters, I would not recommend it. That was actually probably closer to 15 hours for the common enemies that you guys fought.
Yep.
And then there's just like how detailed you want to go into world building and whatnot. And it's just like, I have easily sunk a whole week at least into what is a very basic campaign.
Okay. Yeah. So, other things I would recommend also, if you don't know of anybody, near you, and you're interested in that, you could do stuff like Roll20, because that's virtual, and they always have like I know they have like a looking for group section on the boards. There's a looking for group subreddit as well, if you're willing to do digital. But at the same time, if you're doing that, you're getting a mixed bag because you don't know who you're going to end up with. You're going to either end up with a Josh or an Aaron. You don't know which one you're going to get. And depending on your personality, you may mesh, you may not.
Or you might get in a group with, once again, someone like me who understands or how each character kind of works and how you want to build it to make it work. And, they can, just by understanding what class you are, give you insights and whatnot, even though they're doing something completely different.
Right. And hopefully, if they're a good game master, they know that you're just starting off. So that way it's not
once again, for the most part, you usually have to come out and say that because sometimes they'll be able to guess, but other times it's just like, you could be your first time, but, you've got like basic tactics, basic, survival skills, and it's just like you can fake it.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, let's see what happens. So you have all those things, the virtual tabletops, but maybe find a friend. Maybe, trust me, we all know someone who probably plays it. You might just have to ask. And then you might have people who are interested, like Johnson, that you never would think would be interested.
I did not think Johnson would be nearly as interested or get involved as involved as he did.
Johnson is full of surprises. And then you have the one begging for Johnson to play, going, it's not my cup of tea. That happens too. Yes, we're talking about you, Bad Ranger. I can call you Bad Ranger again.
Yeah, technically.
Bad Josh too.
Bad Josh 2.
Like 2 as in TOO, like as in as well. Not Bad Josh number 2.
Aww.
Bad Josh 2.0.
But in order to be 2.0, never mind, I'm going to keep that comment to myself.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Johnson.
What?
Any comments, questions, concerns, closing things?
You can. Yeah, even if you can't, pull some money out and get those 6 setups, man.
Oh,
this
I know what I'm doing.
This has been Poor Life Choices with Aaron Johnson.
This is how to make other people rich with Aaron Johnson. This week's advice: give people money for things you don't need.
Yes. Just kidding. No, it's cool though.
This member of our party makes good life decisions. That doesn't seem like it. No. He is the most important person of this party.
So you've been enjoying it, Mr. Johnson, right? When you're able to come and not do music-y stuff. No, that's fine. You got music stuff. That's fine. I do not ding.
I just got bad news.
What's the bad news?
Apparently, we might have to re-record drums and guitar.
What? How'd you break it?
I don't know. You say it was acting weird, but anyways, besides that, yeah, no, it's been pretty interesting, and it's fun. I don't know, to get into people's heads, see how weird and they get during games.
Oh, getting into your head—that's always a scary thing, because that could lead to things that no one ever wanted to see or hear.
Very true. Red ruby slippers
and a long black dress.
Yeah.
Get at that. Anything else before I regret my life even more?
Ooh.
You don't need to know.
Okay, moving on. Brewer, anything to say, comment, add, say something you haven't yet, rant about. I'm giving you a rant
so far
option.
there's been like nothing.
I know. He's been quiet.
Next episode, though.
And he wonders why I say I have to sometimes coax him into talking.
Yes, correct.
Doesn't help them cold.
Oh, my goodness. We better end this episode and get him toasted up real quick now.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
I really could use a fire, too.
Oh,
And a cup of hot cocoa. Maybe with some
is that your
eggnog and
is
rum.
that your Christmas tradition?
probably.
He just goes straight for the rum, I bet.
Yes. After he was friends with me, yeah.
Actually, I really
Yeah,
don't
that's
like rum and eggnog.
What?
I don't like it.
I don't like eggnog, so
You're not American.
nope. I'm half
He's-
Mexican.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's a fair point.
Oh, I'm gonna have so much fun with you next
Episode.
next recording episode,
Which
as
was
in
last week.
Last week. So you've already heard the fun. In the future past, I'm gonna have so much fun with you.
I hate that.
Logic break.
Anything to comment on this episode, Mr. Brewer?
No.
Okay, Brock. Anything fun?
Once again, if it seems like it might be fun to you, go ahead, try finding a friend. Like we mentioned, go ahead, try it. At worst, you find out that it's not your thing, and you can bow out. Usually,
Yeah.
Some people are going to be a little more. Oh, come on, really? But I mean, that'll be their result, and they'll do everything they can to make you stay. But I mean, once again, it's just like you'll never know if it's for you until you've tried it at least once. So at least if you can find the group, go ahead and try it. But aside from that, it's just like it's not inherently evil if that's a concern.
And I think of it this way: tattoos aren't inherently evil. Games aren't inherently evil. Music isn't inherently evil.
There's so much that we.
But a D&D tattoo may be inherently evil.
Yeah, I can give you that one. Yeah, I'll submit to that one. But anyway.
But regardless of the fact, I just saw another one. If you are interested in trying it out, I know you're not a fan of the 5e, Brock.
I am not a fan of 5e, but once again, that is simple.
I know, but it might be a way to maybe meet some people who are interested and who might also play other things besides this, and maybe just a chance for you to get to learn some of the mechanics. 5e obviously differs from Pathfinder in multiple ways, but most, like around here, there's a bunch of Adventure League stuff that happens in Milwaukee area where you can go and like $2, that covers the fees and all that. You get to learn how to play a game, and they will walk you through essentially, your first adventure in 5e. At least you learn some basics and be like, okay, this is intriguing, and then maybe you continue on trying to find a group, with the system that you like. Maybe you end up liking 5e and you stick with it, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I will not knock you if that's what you like. It's just for me, it's just like I just find Pathfinder to be far more enjoyable because it, in my opinion, it gives you so much more option.
Yeah. So, go ahead and check that out, see what that is about. So that is, you can do that. And they're a few bucks. A lot of them are free, but a few bucks. At most, you're going to have to bring die and a pencil, which isn't bad in the grand scheme of things because most people have die. And if you don't have die,
and most of the shops will sell dice anyway.
Yeah. Or the GM might be have some spare sets that you can borrow for that one game at least, just to see if you like it or not. But other than that, I think we'll go ahead and call it. Next week is Christmas, and the week after that is New Year's. So it's a holiday heavy month this month with only 2 months. Wow, 2 weeks of actual stuff that's not holiday related. Blah, 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 blah. I can talk English so well. I am starting out the year, I'm ending the year like I started out the year, unable to speak properly.
Linguistics check.
13.
Maybe.
Dang it.
I